Hey, what's going on, folks? This is Adabeezy here, just doing some casting of some ladder matches. This will be another 1v1 featuring a Fnatic MSI JF, who is, of course, the red Protoss spawning in the southern position of the map. Is, of course, Xel'Naga Cavern's probably the most played upon map that is in StarCraft 2, really. His opponent here is going to be Complexity's Steak, formerly known as steakstalife. Decided to change his ID to Steak. I don't know why. I guess he likes steak, didn't like steakstalife. I know a couple casters out there would always call him Starlife, so maybe that factored into it. I don't know. Nothing worse than getting your name mispronounced. But either way, gonna have a pretty quick probe scout coming out here from JF after throwing down that pylon. A lot of players will wait for their gateway to go down to scout out, but he wants to get in here super early, and this is just gonna give him the ability to harass a lot. That's really the only bonus. I mean, very rarely do Terran do any kind of proxy cheeses. Sometimes you'll see a gas first in this matchup from a Terran, but that is like once in a blue moon. So, you know, the only justification for sending out this early probe is to harass, but harass he will. And we'll see. Going right for that probe. Immediately, Steak is going to go ahead and pull one of his probe or SCVs here to block that probe. And look at this, a gas going down on 12 as well. That's pretty quick there. This kind of hints sometimes at a Reaper, but he might want to get that early Marine out, of course, to deal with this probe. Very annoying to have a probe just constantly in your base, making your life miserable, just whacking away. Of course, you know, there's 3 SCVs not mining right now. The one that's, of course, harassing, and the 2 building these buildings. And you know, just continuing to work away on some of these, you know, this one SCV down to 25 hit points. But JF going to go ahead and leave now. This surprised me a little bit. You know, you might as well stay, make sure that first Marine you know, does start production, but sometimes you just want to get the probe out of there, hide it somewhere else on the map. Meanwhile, it looks like Steak will begin scouting now. Looks like he wants to poke around for a proxy. Whenever you see that very early probe, it always makes you a little bit suspicious. But JF definitely not doing anything too funky. You're just going to go throw down a Cybernetics core. Probably going to be a 3-gate expand. He is going to take his second gas now. No uber fast second gas, but not skipping that. This is definitely not a map where you just want to do a one gate Nexus expand. So very bold, and we do have a factory coming out from steakstalife. So I'm very curious if he's going to take his second gas here. That's kind of the deciding feature of, is he going to do that 1-1-1 style all in that really has seen a huge resurgence thanks to a lot of players, notably Slayer's Gonzi as well as Puma. And ooh, this is very interesting. A very fast second gateway here hints a little bit at some kind of 3-stalker pressure. It's more of a PvP build, but it could certainly be very potent as we see that first stalker in production. No Zealot was made, and it looks like we'll just see another pylon here most likely. Yep, down it goes. And that second gas is up for steakstalife, so he is looking to get aggressive here. He's going to go ahead and build a bunker here. This is always very important, especially given what he saw. He saw this very fast second gateway, so he should know a lot of stalkers are quite likely. I'm curious, what is the delay on another stalker? It looks like, did he build something else? He did not build something else. I was looking at the wrong mineral count. It looks like he just wants to sync up the production here, which makes sense. It's always good. And meanwhile, we do have that starport and a tech lab on the factory here. So I'm curious, will he go for cloak? It's kind of the thing he's got to wait and see. We'll see if he starts tank production and then gets tech lab as well. Goes for Banshee. And here we go, a Twilight Council coming out. So it's not going to be that 3-gate expand, but I think he's going to go for Blink in this case. You know, you make pure stalkers. Blink is pretty good. But you gotta be careful, you know, Blink, you can have mixed results with that. Meanwhile, it looks like it's just going to be a basic Banshee here because we've already got a second barracks coming up. Probably gonna see a tech lab here. Yes, there is. So he's gonna start tank production after he gets maybe a Banshee or 2 out to harass. Might even go straight into a Raven. Just let that Raven build up a lot of energy. A Raven is really gonna be key this game, because if it is going to be Blink, which I think it will be, then the PDD is just huge. And we are also seeing a Robotics. This is very interesting. I think JF kind of aware that a 1-1-1 style build is very likely, but I'm surprised he hasn't done much more poking. Meanwhile, it looks like an SCV trying to figure out if his opponent has expanded. And he's going to see, okay, no, you haven't expanded, so always makes the Terran player a little bit suspicious. Probably going to want to start saving up some of his scans here. Stalker's continuing to poke that on the map. He really wants his opponent to kind of not know what's going on, and he certainly will not. Meanwhile, we do have an Observer coming up, so if it was a cloak build as opposed to, you know, just starting that tank production earlier, then he would be safe from that, but unfortunately this is just kind of a pretty big investment to get that robo. But Immortals, they can be good. Probably won't really be able to detect a Colossus in this situation. And the Banshee moving out across the map, and with only 2 gateways up, If he's caught between a warp and cycle, things could get a little bit dicey. Meanwhile, with a bunker up as well as this first tank out, these stalkers really shouldn't be able to do much at all. This tank is so essential. Of course, they outrange stalkers. They do great damage against armored. And looks like JF just going to expand off this. And this is very interesting. I think this is a very interesting style. I mean, it's just like Protoss are trying to find new ways to expand and expand a lot later because, of course, these Terran players are playing much more passively. Just kind of massing up on one base and then going for that big push after doing some harassment. And you can see there's the warping. Gonna be able to shoot this Banshee away, but that Banshee getting a couple kills. This is kind of how you do it, just a little preamble. Meanwhile, it looks like a little bit of harassment will be underway here. These Stalkers taking no damage so far. There's the blink up, but I love this waiting a little bit. You want to wait for that cooldown to start, and here he goes. He's gonna try and focus down. Oh, does not get that tank. Oh man, that is brutal. That tank just narrowly staying alive, and you know what? That is a huge loss right there. Not only does he not kill the tank, he revealed all of his tech. And now I think Steak can basically just say, I'm going to mass up, I'm going to play safe, and oh man, do not blink back up there. Losing, ooh, narrowly escapes one of those Stalkers, almost getting taken out, but not quite surviving. Meanwhile, a scan does go down. Ooh, nice control there. Pulling his Observer back, going to keep that sucker alive, and looks like a little bit of a supply cap here, just temporary though. These two depots about to finish off in this production, and be very much amped back up. And will we see a Nexus come out? I really think he needs to not expand, and he is not expanding indeed, adding 2 more gateways. He just needs to make as many units as possible, especially given how much he's lost. Meanwhile, it looks like he was poking up into this bunker, trying to take it out, but the story of this game is just trying to kill things, but those things getting repaired. As you can see, all of these tanks with full hit points going to be very difficult, and a lot of SCVs here, you know, they are just ready to repair anything and everything. And you know what, you can see in the supply, looks very even, but you know, these tanks, the Marines, it's a very nice composition, and he is about 10 workers down, and I mean, he's pretty much got full saturation here, so it doesn't matter too much, although he does have a bunch of SCVs just chilling with his army, so his income is certainly a little bit gimped, but Mule's kind of bridged that gap. You can see he's not constantly producing tanks, but he's making a lot of units, and he also has combat shield, which helps a lot, and there's no Colossus tech or anything coming out from JF. JF is just kind of focusing on the gateway units more than anything else. And oh man, if he can get these 2 Blink Stalkers, that is going to be massive. This is going to be game-changing right there. He does get 1, which is very nice. Doesn't manage to get that second one. I think the Observer was following those. Maybe a bit of a mistake, and oh my gosh, I think he's going to be able to blink forward. Ooh, no. Already used that blink again, and this Banshee narrowly escaping. Actually, there's 2 Observers out, which is pretty cool. Meanwhile, the Raven going to pop out, and the Nexus does go down. I'm curious how he wants to deal with this. Maybe he's going to go for a scan and just wait till he sees that there is indeed a Nexus down here, and then he'll go for the attack, or if he's just kind of going to move out with a PDD. There's a lot of different things you can do here, but definitely you do want to move out because he's basically in the dark here. Let's take a look. He hasn't done any scanning or anything, so for all he knows, there could be a lot of you know, Colossus on the way. Colossus are very good against this. Meanwhile, it looks like some counter harassment coming in here as his opponent moves out. I'm going to go ahead and kill some Marines, but he's going to need to get home pretty soon. Losing a Stalker there, you really need every single unit. You know, this is great, but when this army gets to JF's front door, he's just not going to be ready. I mean, there's a bunch of Immortals, some Zealots, but that's it. And these Stalkers are just like, you can't base trade a Terror, man. The Marines do pop out of the bunker. The Nexus does get canceled. He needs some sentries, actually. If he could get some sentries out, just force field this ramp, buy time, but he does not have any sentries. Oh my god, this is not good. This is just massive Terran army. Walks up to your front door. We should see a PDD go down here. There's not a lot of Stalkers, but of course, actually going for the auto turret instead. Now the Banshee could kind of reign supreme, but either way, so many Marines, and that was just absolute domination. We could possibly see a bit of a base trade here, as he is camped on top of everything, but you know what, the army of Steak is just so beastly right now. Looks like another Immortal will pop out just in time to get absolutely demolished. I think it got 1 attack off there. And this is just absolute trouble. Meanwhile, that command center floating away, not even burning down. A lot of energy is well left on that. And these Stalkers are going to go home, but these Stalkers are not a match for these 4 tanks, much less all of the Marines and the Banshee. And JF, I mean, he's just going to get eliminated here. He'll get revealed pretty soon. He does have some pylons across the map, but it just really doesn't matter. You can see the production tab completely blank, so I'll go ahead and pull up the unit counting station. And all these probes getting massacred. 10 stalkers on the field. They do get a nice blink there. Take out. Oh, wow. Even going to get that Raven. But you know what? It is just not enough. As all of these tanks are so good against stalkers. The Marines getting healed up. And of course with Combat Shield, they are pretty resilient. Trying to poke around, do what he can. But he is just trying to climb a mountain. And he is taking baby steps here. There's just no way he's lost. Actually, he does with 1 probe hidden. He does have 500. So he could make a Nexus. But once again, that is just going to be very difficult to do that, and every building is just getting taken out here. And this command center actually has landed, so he can go back to mining. He can just start making Marines once again, back to the production tab. We don't see anything quite yet coming out from him, but I mean, he might also just want to mine to do some repairing here. You don't want to lose any of these mechanical units. And once again, he's going to try and poke in here, but he hasn't regenerated his shields, and he's just going to lose his stalkers here down to 4 supply. And GG coming out from JF. That's going to finish off this game. So thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, I'm Adabeezy here. Peace out.